Now let's move to the next young dynamic and robotic engineer, Mr. Abilash Chakravarthy, MD of ACE Robotics. He's a BE Mech and MBA Finance from BITS Pilani. He had received Global Achievers Award from development of ICU ventilators during COVID period. He did a great job. He is also a chief scientist of ACE Robotics, specialized in the field of 3D printing, additive manufacturing, and embedded systems. Over to you, Abilash.
Honorable guests on the dais, engineers, business owners, quality executives, and members. Good evening to one and all present here. So today is a very interesting topic, right? So AI, and it's a very confusing topic, and it's a very prime topic in today's age. And AI has become brand ambassador of majority of the products today, right? AI-enabled cars, AI-enabled bikes, AI-enabled TV, maybe mixie grinder, everything may become AI-enabled as well in upcoming ages. So why not we take this AI to be a brand ambassador for our shop floors as well? Of course, we have to use it as much as possible to further enhance our productivity and quality. So what AI is actually? That's one of the biggest questions, and what it actually means. So before going to the final agenda of using it as a brand ambassador for our shop floor, so let's go to the basics. So to understand what the AI is, so we can actually utilize it to the maximum potential. So this is another question and common misconception, right? So AI means machine learning, neural networks, natural language processing systems, robotics. So there are multiple meanings to the same set of word or the abbreviation. So what it is actually? So AI is actually a neural network. So it's a neural network combined together to form the actual outcome. So what is a neural network? So it's another complex term added into the AI terminology, right? So a neural network is a combination of nodes. To simplify it, a basic AI may cover somewhere around 1,000 to 2,000 nodes to comprise a particular AI platform. So each node is nothing more than a probability analysis. So to break it down further, so we as humans, how do we think, right? So we think about different probabilities to address certain requirements. So let's assume somebody asks you a particular question. So in our mind, we think about different probabilities to give the right answer to them, and think about our previous experiences, think about the alternate solutions that the opponent may give a reply to you. So each node is a probability analysis which will give you the most reliable solution that the end user may require or end user may have. So there was this simple joke at that time when the AI came up at the initial stage. This guy types on his computer searching for a poem to give it to somebody, and the AI gives him a poem in Tamil, Hindi, and in English, and eventually he also asked about, why don't you speak it out, and it also spoke the entire poem, and he also asked, why don't you give a feel to it, and the screen shook a bit. And he just moves the screen and he sees a person behind. So that was a simple joke that came at that time. So is somebody really standing somewhere and replying for your requirements or your prompts? So that is another question of how AI actually thinks. So what the AI models or general models come up with is a parallel noding system where there will be a probability analysis node that will be analyzing each probability as you ask by. If you enter the first word, let's assume what is the best tool to use for a facing operation. So the first three words itself, it tries to predict what will be the last two words. So each AI model has multiple layers of noding system placed one over the other, and each node tries to contribute to the final outcome. So we have understood basically what AI is. So it's very simplified version of it, but to be real with you, it is much more complicated, and there are different models available to formulate these nodes. So to simplify it further, it's like a if-else statement. Let's assume one node is having a if statement for if somebody asks what as the first word, so that will trigger one node as one of the probability to chain it to another node. So that's how it starts. And one such example, what we did a few years back in our own robot manufacturing company at that time, was we tried to create a very simple node at that time to create some emotions, right? Like Indran movie, we also try to add some emotions to our robots that we manufacture. So the node was to address the forces that has been generated on the robot, and it reacts back. So if you push it slowly, it also tries to react back and push you slowly. If you push it harshly, it will try to push you back even much harsher. So likewise, we created a very small node at that time, and we are also trying to adopt further more nodes in our robotic system, as well as in our software company, where we make a lot of CRMs and project management systems with the nodes that we will see how to implement in our shop floors. So AI transformation, right? So that word of transformation, so where we have to start to transform. So we have understood what AI is and how the AI system works. So we have understood that's a probability analysis to get you somewhere. So how to transform in our organization? Majority, we think about using ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude to directly integrate or incorporate in our organizations. Practically speaking, that may not help. That may help to certain associates who try to fill up mails, wrong mail, they can refurbish it with a ChatGPT. But in real terms, that may not be the case. So in order to implement AI in a shop floor or in a quality department, or for that matter any department, I am trying to generalize it in a perspective of a factory. So a factory or a production shop has multiple departments. Let's take 4 departments: the sales, production, quality, and dispatch. So if you take these 4 departments as the primary agenda and try to incorporate AI into it, sales is one area where that generates revenue to trigger all these 3 departments, and production again has further more requirements, and quality, and finally dispatch and packaging systems. So how to do this? We have understood that AI can be utilized in these departments. Now, how to implement that? So the AI cannot be just implemented directly with some of the tools or models. So first thing that it requires a system. See, without any system, AI is pretty much like, going and telling somebody, I am going to drive a car tomorrow and go and participate in F1 car race. So that is like directly, betting on yourself, believing your car is going to, or your F1 car is going to take you somewhere to the final destination. That's not the case. So that's a very irrational approach. So you have a very powerful muscle car or a F1 car to, finish your end line. So that's not how AI works. So even with good AI models like ChatGPT, which is pretty much a language model, or Claude or Gemini, so the approach or the concept is similar, but it requires a lot of data. So data are very specific. So specific in the sense the system that you already have or incorporated in your organization becomes the driving force to implement AI in your system or in your organization. So how to get this data? So the system already drives the data and have accumulated some level of information about your organization, how your sales team performs, how data has been gathered. Let's assume you have 4 managers in 4 different states. So they have been directly visiting customers, interacting with the customers, how much time they have taken to close a particular order, what was the discounts that they have given over the period of time. So all this data gives the information for the AI to analyze and give you a practical outcome to a better ASMs or a better manager or a better form of sales outcome. Same applies to your production, same applies to your quality and dispatch as well. So first system is required. Next, the AI requires a data to that. So the first step for implementing any AI model, maybe in upcoming days there will be multiple companies approaching manufacturers in India that, I have implemented a AI system, we will be able to implement AI system in your organization. The first question that you have to ask yourself would be that whether we have the system enough to, train these models. So even if somebody is trying to offer you a solution, you must first have the data to implement this solution. So the first stage would be to understand your process flow and then come up with a distinct tool. If you take sales, that will be a CRM. If you take production, that may be a production management system, or a quality would be a quality management system, maybe a ERP as a whole. So in our own software division, we came up with a few of these subdivided models where we established a data gathering system and subdivided all these products so that a customer, when he enters into our CRM system, he can search, what will be the route plan for the next 3 days? Where can we go? Can you schedule me a plan? Will be the most ideal to visit and my conversion rate can be much higher. So what would be the target for this month? What the management expects? Where can I get more increment if I concentrate in 4 or 5 clients? So for this outcome, we have incorporated a similar AI model in our software in CRM. You can Google it as well and try it on your own. So that would be one of the tools that you can utilize in your organization in regarding sales. Likewise, if you take production again, so you require a production data, or to say the task that you have done over a period of time, multiple tasks that you have been used for different departments, like the morning meetings you conduct or the evening meetings that you carry forward to verify all the activity tasks are completed. So these primary tools are necessary to establish AI in your system. So these are some of the tools available in the open market. So if you take generalized AI models, I think you will be familiar with most of them. Distinct, you can take a pick of this and you can do a lot of search on that. So what I suggest, what we did for our organization, or to say our companies, especially in the case of a software for that instance. So we try to incorporate majority of the tools. It was not an easy task to implement these tools because most of these tools are a combination of different language models overlapped with each other to give you the required outcome. So we came up with a integrated system where we try to collaborate each product. In the case of the organization, the 4 departments being the ideal outcome that we expect. So what we did is that we started with sales department. So created a CRM on that, and then we try to integrate it with a project management system, whether the tasks are completed on time and it has been implemented on time. Then we came to CMS, calibration management system, addressing to quality side of it, then production system. So you can directly search on these websites and have a look. So N8N is another tool available in the market where you can automate very day-to-day tasks with the help of AI, even responding to mails, basic mails, many complicated mails may not be able to respond to it. Flow is another tool used to generate videos where digital marketing has become absolute, I feel, today. It's still at a very infant stage, but still maybe in a couple of years' time, it may become even better. And of course, ChatGPT, we are all familiar with. So we have understood these tools are there, right? So we have implementing these tools directly is a big task. So how to implement these tools is the primary question. So as I was explaining on the previous slide, the system would be the primary goal that you wanted to implement so that can be connected directly to these tools. And further to that, sustainability is another big constraint when you use these tools. So these tools are evolving on a constant stage, and to sustain to these tools, you must also need to improvise your data available for these tools. Let's assume you are providing the same set of data with not much of a variance. So these tools cannot, provide a very detailed outcome that you are expecting. So that's something that you have to keep in mind when you use these tools. So furthermore to that would be on finally how to reach the goal of AI transformation. So now we have seen how what AI is and what the actual thoughts on it and some of the tools. So the transformation starts from a very initial stage, like understanding the process, then trying to implement one area of it, and then finally moving to the final requirement of combining all these requirements. So that's how the implementation process can be done rather than directly trying to implement the whole thing. So this is from my side on the over brief and how to implement it. So you guys can try it out on your own with some of the tools that I have shown here, and you can also log into our product page in ACRM or project management to experience on some of the tools that we have also developed. Yeah. Thank you.
So at the end of the session, what is the impression all of you have got? நாளையிலேருந்து ஏஐன்னு ஒன்று ஏதோ பண்ண போகுது, குவாலிட்டி நம்ம எந்த வேலையும் பண்ண வேண்டாம், அதானே? Future தான், future it has already come. We are seeing AI every day now. See, please, I just try to quote my mentor and professional guide, Dr. Ravichandran. Nothing in manufacturing will work if you don't touch the process, touch the machine, touch the people. AI can only help you, augment you. Definitely you need AI, but it has to augment all of our process and make it an excellent one to improve our efficiency and productivity. And finally, I would like to quote from today morning. I have been hearing right from our chief guest, Mr. T.K. Balaji, about China, and followed by our ex-chairman of ISRO. I would like to share my experience of China. In 2019, month of September, I visited a place called Wuhan. That time I didn't know about Wuhan. If I had known, I would not have gone. I went there to source a machine for laser cladding. You know, we are making engine walls. At the tip of the wall, we need to deposit a stellite material. Just 0.2 mm, we need to make a dish and then deposit this. I happened to go there, and we had connected with a supplier in Wuhan. The promoter was a lady. She took me in her car. It was like a big township. I am from Neyveli, so I am saying that it is like a Neyveli township. Huge place, only for laser. There are about hundreds of offices, factories, etc. Everybody is specializing on laser. So she took me to her office, and then I explained what is that I need. She noted down. She couldn't understand and comprehend. So she told me, come on with me. She took again in her car into the same township in a central place. There is a very big university. Again, that university in that Wuhan township is focusing only on laser research. So she put me in front of a professor. I did the same, explained the same thing. He took me around the university. He showed me laser cladding from small thing to a very big shaft, turbine shafts, and how the machine is being designed. He gave that design to this supplier, and then she made that design, and then they supplied. Now, why I'm saying this is, like we listened in the morning, China is growing, China is prospering because they also invest in this type of thing. We talk about isolation like IIT Madras and some of the institutes, but I think every township should be developed for each one of these different fields, and we should also, the institutes also should support, and particularly like our country where we have MSMEs, if that type of support is extended, I think definitely India can prosper better than anybody else. With this, I conclude this session, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Abilash. Thank you, audience, for the applause.